Welcome back, everyone. The third spacewalk in less than 3 weeks is underway outside of the International Space Station.
The mission this time is to replace a faulty solar battery, install backup power lines for the lab's robot arm, and route Ethernet cabling to expand wireless communications. All that is expected to take about 6.5 hours. That's pretty impressive with all that
Takes
gear
me
on.
6 hours just to program my
change
VCR.
Yeah. Change the channel, change the time.
Yeah, when we do those like maintenance things, it never looks that cool.
Okay. Looks great outside right now.
It really does, yeah. I mean, we've managed to hang on to that sunshine a little bit longer than anticipated. With time, there will eventually be more clouds, but having stood on the sky deck, there are a couple of observations I want to pass on to you if you haven't stepped outside yet. It's definitely windy. And you're also going to notice, I think, that it's a little steamy outside, too. It is a little humid across the Delaware Valley right now, but that makes sense. We sit in the warm sector of this latest storm system. I also want to put things into perspective for you just from a region-wide zoom overlooking the entire Northeast. You know, you don't have the same pattern necessarily, or current conditions at least, across all of the Northeast. Now, looking at the wider zoom, there are a couple of fronts, like I mentioned earlier in the show, that need to cross through. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot to look at across the eastern seaboard, but this whole mess needs to work its way through before we can promise you a totally dry day. So there are a couple of more pronounced windows where you'll see the better chance for wet weather. Not right now per se, but this starts to lift in with time. But also, again, let's put this into perspective. Look at all the snow. I mean, pretty much the entire state of Maine is covered in it, and they're looking at upwards of a foot of snow in a couple of spots. So we're only obviously a few states away. This is a drastic difference in temperature. You're in mid-70s or even upper 70s in many locations here locally, whereas you go up into the Northeast, I mean, you're barely in the mid-40s in Boston, and it's not even the freezing mark in Bar Harbor. So it is cold enough to support that snow up across that zone, and that very persistent southerly wind flow just isn't enough to get those temperatures high enough to have it mix and change over in those areas. So again, we'll just reiterate, it could always be worse. Now, I know some of you want snow, but we have none in this forecast. Let's just put that out there right now. We do, however, have a temperature swing coming our way. Warmest day is, in fact, currently underway. But by middle part of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll be back into the low 60s. Guys, that's where we should be. Our normal high at this time of the year is in the low 60s, so we just end up with a dose of reality. We have been spoiled in the last couple of days, but there are a few fronts that are crossing through. So one comes tonight, sort of strung out to the south, and then another one will come in on Tuesday afternoon and evening. So you've got another chance, especially true later tonight and into the early hours of tomorrow morning, and then again tomorrow afternoon and evening for the best opportunity for a couple of showers or storms. Come Wednesday, those skies do begin to clear back out again, and you're promised 2 straight days with high pressure and control. That means more sunshine. Backing it up, though, looking at the current conditions once more, we've got wind speeds right now basically out of the south-southwest, and they aren't really strong winds, but they're enough that you certainly notice them. I did out here 6 floors up on the sky deck. You can probably see that. You probably noticed my hair moving around quite a bit as well, but it's still a really good excuse to be outside. Check this out. When's the last time we saw this many people up and down the Ocean City Boardwalk? It's been a while. So a really great excuse to make the most of this day that you've been given. And even though we do have a few scattered showers or thunderstorms out there, it's a really nice evening and really nice afternoon. Now, it may be mostly cloudy for the Phil's first pitch this evening, but it should stay dry. I wouldn't be shocked if there was a little activity on the radar, but even if there was a little blip that moved over our region, it would have to be directly over CBP. So odds are good that it's going to stay rain-free for the game tonight. And then the temperature does take a hit. Like we mentioned, we're back to where we should be with those temperatures on Wednesday and Thursday, but they really end up being some of the nicest days of the 7-day.
Thank you, Katie. Appreciate it.